Welcome back to the deep dive. I want to start today with a little bit of a word association game.
Okay, I'm game.
So if I look at you and say the phrase sweat bank, what is the absolute first image that flashes into your mind? And be honest.
Sweatbank. Um, okay, honestly, it sounds like a high-intensity interval training studio.
Yay.
Like maybe one of those places where the walls are all black and the music is just terrifyingly loud.
And people are yelling at you.
Yeah, people yelling while you push a weighted sled across some turf or something. It sounds exhausting, frankly.
I had the exact same reaction. I pictured a very humid gym membership where you basically just pay in suffering. But as it turns out, we are way off base here.
Completely off base.
We are not talking about burpees or CrossFit today. We're actually talking about real estate.
Which is much less sweaty, usually.
Usually, yes. Specifically, we are looking at a really fascinating mental model for homeownership that we found in a script from a podcast called Home Shield Talks.
Yeah, it's a great find. And you're right, it's not about exercise, but the sweat part is actually literal.
Oh, for sure.
We're looking at a concept that frames home maintenance not as a series of annoying chores that ruin your weekend, but as a distinct economic system.
And the source material specifically revolves around a conversation between hosts Simon and Kristen, and they're discussing a service called RealtyMulti's Shields.
Right.
But what we really want to do today for you listening is look past the service itself and drill down into the philosophy they're proposing. They call it the sweat bank.
It's a really compelling metaphor. The mission for this deep dive is to sort of unpack the psychology behind that term.
Because it's a mindset shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to understand how shifting a homeowner's mindset from a reactive state, which is, let's be honest, where most of us live.
Oh, absolutely. Hand raised right here.
Right. So shifting from that reactive state to a proactive state can actually unlock hidden value.
And when you say hidden value, you don't just mean like saving a few bucks on a coupon, right?
Yeah. No. We are talking about preventive economics.
Preventive economics.
Yeah. It's about how the invisible systems in your house are either building wealth for you or actively destroying it, depending on how you treat this sweat bank.
Okay, so let's get into the definition here. Because sweat bank sounds a bit abstract, how do Simon and Kristen in the source material actually define this?
So they're very explicit that this is not a literal financial institution.
Yeah.
You can't drive up to the drive-through window and ask for a withdrawal in 20s.
Too bad.
Yeah, it represents the accumulation of small efforts. Think of it like this. In a normal bank, you deposit cash to build equity.
Right.
In the sweat bank, the currency is attention.
Attention is currency. I actually really like that. It feels manageable.
It is. When you perform a small maintenance task, say tightening a loose hinge or clearing a gutter, checking a filter, you are making a deposit into the home's functional equity.
So you're banking the health of the structure.
Exactly. You are essentially paying forward the stability of your home.
So if those are the deposits, the little things we do, what does a withdrawal look like? Because usually a withdrawal is when I take money out to buy something fun, like a boat or a nice dinner.
Well, in this model, the withdrawal is the payoff, but it's a bit more subtle than a boat.
Right.
You withdraw the savings from the repair you didn't have to make.
Oh, I see.
You withdraw the Saturday afternoon you didn't spend waiting for an emergency plumber to show up. You withdraw the peace of mind.
It's almost like a negative withdrawal. You are withdrawing the absence of pain.
That's a great way to put it. It's the dog that didn't bark.
Huh.
But the source material highlights a massive friction point here.
Which is human nature.
Right. The logic is sound. Everyone agrees prevention is good. But human behavior gets in the way. The default setting for almost every homeowner is purely reactive.
Oh, absolutely. The whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it philosophy. I mean, I'm incredibly guilty of this.
We all are.
If the lights turn on and the water comes out hot, I just assume the house is happy. I assume everything is working perfectly until there is literally smoke or water on the floor.
And that is what the source calls the deficit model.
The deficit model.
Yeah, if you wait until the roof leaks to think about the roof you're operating in the red, you are scrambling to pay back a debt of neglect, basically.
Wow, a debt of neglect. That's heavy.
It is. The sweat bank is designed to flip that script so you are operating in the black.
You know, this reminds me of health, honestly. It's the difference between eating a salad today versus waiting until you have a heart attack to change your diet.
That is a perfect analogy.
One is a small deposit. The other is a massive, painful crisis management situation.
Exactly. And that leads us right into the specific persona the source material spends a lot of time analyzing. They call this person the skeptic.
The skeptic. I feel like I know this person. I might actually be this person on my bad days.
Well, the skeptic is The homeowner who stands in their living room looks around at the freshly painted walls and says, "My house is fine. Nothing is broken. Why should I spend money or energy on a problem that doesn't exist?"
It's a fair question, though, isn't it? I mean, life is expensive. Groceries are expensive. Why go looking for trouble if the house seems okay?
Because, as the source points out, fine is usually an illusion. Entropy is always at work.
Always.
The source material gets very specific about geography here to prove this point. They talk about the Northeast, specifically places like New York and Connecticut.
Right. Regions with serious weather whiplash. You get the freezing winters where everything contracts, and then those humid summers where everything swells up.
Exactly. In those environments, a house is under constant assault from the elements. You have frozen pipes expanding and contracting behind the walls.
You have humidity building up, creating mold you can't see.
Roof wear from ice dams. The skeptic says it's fine because they can't see the pipe freezing.
Right, until it bursts and ruins the living room.
That's the silent killer aspect. It's happening behind the scenes constantly.
And the financial argument against the skeptic is pretty stark here, too.
Oh, it is. The source mentions that a small, invisible issue, like just a tiny gap in flashing or a slow drip under a cabinet, can spiral into a $5,000 repair very easily.
$5,000? I mean, that is a number that hurts.
It really does.
That's not, oops, I need a new toaster money. That is, there goes the family vacation money. We aren't getting that new car money.
And that $5,000 is what I like to call the cost of ignorance. The source brings up a really powerful concept here. They call it the I don't know what, I don't know gap.
This resonated with me so much because I'm not a general contractor. I work in an office. I don't know what a fascia board is, let alone if it's rotting.
Right, you just live there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just rely on the house to work, but I don't understand the mechanics of it at all.
And that's the vulnerability. Most homeowners are essentially amateurs managing a very complex, very expensive machine.
Yeah.
They don't know that the HVAC needs a winter check. They don't know the gutters need to be cleared specifically in the spring to prevent foundation hydraulic pressure.
Wait, hold on. Gutters affect the foundation.
Absolutely they do. If they overflow, the water pours right down the side of the house, cools at the base, and can actually crack the foundation over time.
See, I didn't know that. I thought clean gutters were just about looking nice. Or maybe preventing a little overflow on the sidewalk.
That is the knowledge gap right there. The sweat bank mindset is about acknowledging that gap.
Okay.
It's admitting, I am not an expert, but I need to manage this asset.
Hmm.
It's moving from blissful ignorance to informed management.
So let's talk about the solution they propose. Because realizing you're ignorant is one thing, but fixing it is another, especially when you're busy.
Right.
The source introduces this service, RealtyMulti's shields. How do they fit into this whole sweat bank analogy?
They frame the service as a personal sweat bank manager. I think that's very clever positioning.
What's your manager?
Yeah, if you accept that you have a sweat bank, but you lack the time or the expertise to actually manage the deposits, you hire a manager.
It's like having a financial advisor, but for your drywall and plumbing.
Precisely. The source details a few key features that solve the specific behavioral problems we just talked about. First, they do seasonal inspections.
Which solves the whole I forgot problem.
Right. It takes the cognitive load entirely off the homeowner. You don't have to remember, oh, it's October time to flush the water heater.
The system just handles the trigger.
Exactly. It creates a schedule. It automates the responsibility.
That is huge. I feel like half the battle of home maintenance is just remembering that things need to be done. It just sits on your mental to-do list and stresses you out.
And the second feature is priority fixes and connecting owners with trusted pros. This addresses the frantic Google search phenomenon.
Oh, the absolute worst. It is 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. There is water coming through the ceiling, and you are just frantically reading one-star reviews, trying to find anyone who will pick up the phone.
And in that moment, you have zero leverage. You will pay whatever they ask because you are desperate.
Yep.
A sweat bank manager creates a pre-vetted network. You aren't scrambling. You're just executing a plan. You skip the panic phase entirely.
Okay, so that covers the avoiding disaster side of things. But looking at the source material, there is a proactive financial argument here, too. It's not just about avoiding a $5,000 loss. It's actually about efficiency.
Yes, this is where the math gets really interesting. The source cites some data regarding Energy Star reports.
This is the green angle.
It is, but it's really a green wallet angle.
Ah, I like that.
The data suggest that simple preventive steps, things like checking door seals, tuning up the HVAC system, adding insulation, can save 10 to 15% on heating and cooling costs.
That is significant. I mean, if your energy bill is, say, $300 a month in the winter, that adds up fast.
It changes the equation completely. If you spend money on a maintenance plan, but you save 15% on your monthly utility bill, the service essentially starts to pay for itself.
It turns the expense of maintenance into a yield.
Exactly. It really changes the math from paying to keep the house standing to paying to run the house efficiently. It becomes an investment strategy.
And the source material provides some concrete proof of concept here. They list a couple of case studies that I think really illustrate the difference between the reactive and proactive approach. These aren't hypotheticals, right? These represent real saves.
Yes, let's look at the Connecticut example first.
This was the family who caught an insulation issue early.
Correct. So this family is in Connecticut where you have harsh winters and really expensive heating oil. During one of these routine sweat bank inspections, the RealtyMulti's Shields team found a significant insulation gap in the attic.
Now, insulation is the definition of out of sight, out of mind. You never go in the attic, you don't see the pink fluff, you wouldn't know it was missing.
Exactly. It's just invisible money leaking out of the roof. But because of that gap, heat was escaping rapidly. By fixing it early, the source says they saved an estimated $3,000.
$3,000.
Yeah, and that includes the energy loss over time, but also potential repairs from ice dams forming on the roof because of that heat leak.
$3,000 is a used car. That's a very nice vacation.
Yeah.
That is real money that would have just evaporated through the roof into the winter sky.
And then there's the New York example, which is perhaps even more visceral, a sump pump tune-up.
Oh, man. Sump pumps. You never think about them until it rains for 3 days straight and you hear that ominous silence from the basement.
That silence is the sound of a savings account draining.
Seriously.
In this case, the family had a routine tune-up. The technician found a mechanical issue. I think the float switch was sticking or the motor was starting to burn out, and they fixed it.
And presumably it rained shortly after.
It did, and the pump worked.
Yeah.
The result? They prevented a basement flood.
Wow.
Now the source puts a dollar figure on flood damage. It can easily be $10,000, $20,000 for remediation. But I think the value here goes way beyond money.
Oh, 100%. If you have ever had a flooded basement, you know, it's the smell of mildew that never leaves. It's the ruined photo albums that you can't replace.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's having giant industrial fans roaring in your house for 2 straight weeks.
That's a trauma. It disrupts your life completely. By making that small deposit, just the tune-up, they avoided that entire nightmare. That is the true return on investment in the sweat bank. You are buying your life back.
There's one more layer of value the source discusses that I think people often forget. We talk about saving on bills, avoiding repairs, but what about when you actually want to sell the place?
The resale value argument. This is crucial. The source argues that a home with a clean, documented maintenance history is, quote, like gold, unquote, when selling.
It makes total sense. Imagine you're a buyer. You're looking at 2 houses. House A looks pretty, but it's a mystery box. You don't know what's behind the walls.
Right.
House B comes with a log that says, here is the date we service the furnace every year for the last 5 years. Here is when we cleaned the gutters. Here is the roof inspection report.
Which house do you trust? You trust House B. It turns the home from a gamble into a verified asset.
It's basically a Carfax for your...
For your house, exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
It leads to fewer surprises during the inspection phase, which is where most deals fall apart anyway. It makes for a smoother closing. It preserves the equity you've built. It signals to the buyer that this asset has been managed, not just lived in.
So we've covered the financial side, the safety side, and the resale side. But there is a softer side to the source material that I really liked, the lifestyle shift.
Yes, moving from stress to control.
The source frames this not just as doing chores like taking out the trash, but as empowerment. They talk about using app reminders and expert tips to make the homeowner feel capable rather than overwhelmed.
I think that psychological distinction is the most important part of this whole deep dive. When you are reactive, you're essentially a victim of your house.
That is a strong way to put it, a victim of your house.
But it's true. When the pipe bursts, it feels like the house is attacking you. Things happen to you. But when you are proactive, when you are the sweat bank manager, you are in charge. You are the CEO of your home.
I love that framing, CEO of your home. It elevates the role completely. You aren't just the janitor unclogging the drain, you're the executive making strategic resource allocation decisions.
And for busy professionals or parents with young kids, the value proposition is really about time and efficiency. The source highlights eliminating the weekend emergency.
That is the dream scenario. You work hard all week, you finally get to Saturday. The goal is to relax, spend time with family, maybe watch a game.
Exactly.
The goal is not to be wearing a headlamp in the crawl space trying to figure out why the water pressure dropped.
Or waiting for a stranger to show up within a vague 4-hour window.
Yeah, the sweatbank mindset allows life to continue uninterrupted. That continuity has immense value. It means you own the house doesn't own you.
That is the key shift. And frankly, it makes the sweat part of the sweatbank feel a lot lighter because it's planned sweat, not panic sweat.
So let's try to synthesize this for everyone listening. We've looked at the source, we've analyzed the sweatbank metaphor, and we've seen the logic behind RealtyMulti shields. What is the bottom line here?
I think the summary is this. Every home ages. It's just a law of physics. Entropy is real, and it is undefeated. You cannot stop your house from trying to degrade.
It's a battle you just can't quit.
Right. But you get to choose how you fight that battle. You can fight it on your terms with small, planned, inexpensive skirmishes, or you can wait for the house to launch a full-scale surprise attack.
And mathematically, the surprise attack is always more expensive.
Always. Prevention is always cheaper than the cure.
And the sweatbank isn't just about fixing leaks. It's about making homeownership enjoyable. That's what really stood out to me. It's about taking the anxiety out of the equation so you can actually love where you live.
It transforms the home from a source of potential liability into a true sanctuary.
I want to leave everyone with a thought here. We talked about credit scores earlier and financial banks.
This raises a really important question for everyone listening.
Right. If your home's maintenance history was a credit report, what would your score be right now? Think about it. Be honest. Are you an 800? Are you prime?
Or are you hovering in that subprime danger zone? Are you one bad storm away from bankruptcy?
That is a provocative thought. And following that logic, what is one small deposit you could make this weekend to raise that score?
It doesn't have to be a new roof. It doesn't have to be expensive at all. Maybe it's just flushing the water heater to get the sediment out. Maybe it's kicking the weather stripping on the front door.
Just one small deposit to build that equity.
And save yourself the withdrawal headache later.
I think I am going to go check my gutters right now, actually. I'm feeling inspired.
A very wise deposit.
That is it for this deep dive into the sweatbank. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you on the next one.
Take care.